And it's Dan and James talking about the Villa games. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the AVFC Faithful Podcast. You are joined, as always, by Dan. Unfortunately, not James today, as he is, well, I assume probably right now, joining the many thousands leaving Villa Park following our 2-1 win against AZ Alkmaar. I thought I'd jump on and just chat through my thoughts following that game, because I think it didn't go quite as well as probably as many of us expected it to. I hadn't really quite realised, but obviously AZ Alkmaar they were kind of in a position where there was a possibility they were all but at risk of going out tonight. Had results gone their way or against them, should we say? So they were always going to come and fight, and they did. They clearly learned their lesson from the reverse fixture. I mean, you're never going to face a team that makes the same mistake twice, and we made plenty of mistakes ourselves in that first half. And lucky not to go 1-0 up. With the Longley goal unfortunately being ruled out for offside. A bit of a grey area because obviously, makes an attempt to clear the ball, but apparently because of goal line clearance doesn't really count that way. So Bailey, being the corner taker, putting the ball back in for Longley to pull it in, is ruled offside. But after that, we continued putting pressure on, but then we just sort of stopped, which was really strange. We really took ourselves, we almost went automatically into sort of second, third gear, then put ourselves back into first and sort of held off for far too long. And that really allowed AZ to start putting the foot on the gas and start playing into our half a lot more. The balls over the top were really coming in, and our high line was really high this game. Pavlidis was struggling with it in the first half. I mean, they were caught offside many times, not just him, but the wingers as well for AZ were quite struggling a bit at the first part. But as soon as the second half starts, they don't make that same mistake again, and he starts half a yard off Longley and beats him to the pace, and then it's a great finish. And Pavlidis puts them 1-0 up, and from there you're thinking, well, it's a bit Foresty, this, isn't it? With the same mistakes being made, we're not clinical enough in the final third. We're not putting in the sort of, the quality that we're used to seeing, especially, from the Brighton game and Palace even at home and West Ham. It was quite worrying, but it is Villa and it is Villa at home, so you did kind of think that we had a chance of still winning the game. Take nothing away from AZ, but obviously Villa did sort of step it up, especially with the changes. Very fortunate with the goal. Realistically, we should be going 1-0 up there anyway. Kamara should not be putting that over the bar in any circumstance. It wasn't a corner. I think we can all agree. Obviously, it wasn't a corner, but it was given as a corner. It's a fantastic header from Diego Carlos, puts us to 1-1, and then from there, it's highly unlikely that we're in a position where we lose, and we're always looking at winning that game. Then, I mean, there were still chances for Alkmaar, and we still left ourselves plenty open at the back. But the Douglas Luiz substitution was massive because, as good as I thought Tielemans actually was, I think Kamara was struggling a bit with him and was losing the ball quite often, and we needed that sort of Douglas Luiz central focal point for the different sort of balls coming into the box. And I mean, that's exactly where we scored from. A delightful pass in from just outside the 18-yard box, diagonally across, and Ollie Watkins heads in for 2-1. And Watkins had a quiet game. Problem is with the way we were playing, where we were fizzing balls in on the bounce to him to take control of and then pass it back out. Now, a couple of the times the centre halves, just get their names up now because they were escaping me, Bruno Martins, Indy and Bazua, they were very good against Ollie Watkins today, and they sort of made it quite clear early on that, they were going to be fighting a battle against him. And obviously he ends up winning the war in the end, but it was difficult for him, I think, in the first half and in the second half. There were a couple of times where he collects the ball really well. There was one I remember, the ball gets fizzed into him, he takes a touch straight back out into the midfield and then plays an outside the boot pass out to Luca Dean, but from there nothing, it doesn't formulate, and that was a lot of the problem again today. Obviously we weren't having the cash outlet on the right. We had Ezri Konsa playing there, so we weren't having the attacking outlet that we used to. But at the same time, when the ball was going to Luca Digne, if he didn't have the time and space that he really wanted, the balls weren't coming in that we needed. I'm not going to sit here and say he had a poor game, but I think in the attacking sense, all of us had a poor game until later on in the second half. So it's a tough one, isn't it? Because we won at the end of the day, and that's all that really mattered this week, was that we won this game, got ourselves joint top of the group now, and looking quite comfortable with our remaining 2 games. You'd expect to hopefully finish top of the group and go straight through to the last 16, because that's really important for the progress. It's one less game we'll have to play at the start of next year. I want to give a bit of a special note out as well to Diego Carlos. I thought he played really well today. It was unfortunate to see him go off injured. Fingers crossed that's just a minor little, sort of just a tweak, because the last thing we need, Moreno's literally just walked back through the door. We don't need someone going back out of it. So fingers crossed. I have full faith in our medical team, but it is worrying when you see it happen. But yeah, it's hard to really divulge that game, because like I said, we're so focused on winning that the performance was becoming secondary for me. But it's hard not to make the comments you do and make the judgments you do, because at the end of the day, that's sort of what you guys listen for, and it's sort of what I watch football for now. So look, on to Sunday, a big game against Fulham at home. Obviously, me and James spoke about that on the previous episode. If you haven't watched it, please do check it out. It's not just a preview for the Alkmaar game, but we did do a little preview for the Fulham game as well. But that's a really important game. I would expect a much better performance there. I think today was a real big signifier towards a result rather than a performance. We needed to win today. Sunday we still need to win, but I think Unai Emery will not allow us to have a performance anywhere near the level we had today. I think he'll be expecting a lot more still. He's a perfectionist at heart, and he's making us all into perfectionists, which is probably not for the betterment for him, because the second it's not, we're all throwing our arms up in the air complaining. But hey ho, we won. Let's try and take some positives out of it. 2 good goals, a set piece goal, a goal straight directly from a corner, which we're liking our set piece goals this season. And Ollie Watkins scoring again in Europe is really vital, because he's in double figures now for the season already. So as long as he's still firing, that we don't have to worry too much. So look, on to Sunday, a big game at home again. Sunday 2:00 kickoff against Fulham. I'm still going with a 2-0 win there. I think we will finally keep a clean sheet. I know Emi Martinez is probably screaming out for one, and I think we might actually see the return of Alex Moreno then. I think we would have today had it been again a 3-0, but the second that you go 1-0 down, it's very rare you're going to bring him into that, because he's probably not physically ready for what was a very physical game. Alkmaar came to not really kick around, but we were kicked around a fair bit, and I think they got away with not getting booked a couple of times. So again, it's important that Alex Moreno isn't rushed back, and I think we will see him on Sunday feature a little bit against Fulham, because it's important for him to get some minutes in. But then again, if he doesn't before the international break, so what? He's fully fit and probably back to start again then. So again, we won. Let's be happy about it. I'm buzzing about it, because we now don't really have to worry too much about Europe. Obviously, it's still vital that we, like I said, we finish top, but we can now focus on Sunday and get straight into it, and then have the international break, reset, regenerate, hopefully have Aaron Ramsey back very soon after the international break, and kick on. Thank you for tuning in. It's a short little episode. I just wanted to have a chat about it, break down the game as I saw it, and have a look through it. Again, I think it's important to look at these things with a bit of a tactical lens, but today's game was so important to win. As soon as you go 1-0 down, just win by any means necessary, and we did. So if you enjoyed it, please do like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another video. We will be back next week following our game. I will not say victory or loss against Fulham, because every time I say victory or loss, it ends up the other way around, and I do not need to be looking silly tonight. So yeah, do tune in next week. Follow us all on socials. I'll link them all down below. And until next time, up the Villa.